Here we go. I thought that was my boy Kennedy.
No.
Who'd have thought it would turn into a Kennedy Democrat?
I've got a Kennedy sticker in there.
I'll have to take it.
Have you seen it?
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Ducks Unlimited. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
That is right. You need to get involved with Ducks Unlimited any way you can because they are the organization that is putting ducks back into the sky. We appreciate all your hard work. And on the line with us today, straight from Ducks Unlimited headquarters. You're in Memphis, right? Right now?
I am.
All right. Straight from the Ducks Unlimited office.
Mr. Jimbo Robertson. It's Robinson,
Yes,
not
good-
Robertson, right?
Robinson.
Robinson. Good morning.
Like Charlie Robinson. Jeff, you probably don't even know who that is. That was before your time.
No.
After your time.
Before my time, that would have been Porter Wagner, Tom T. Hall, Tank Sr. You live in Memphis, Tennessee, don't you? Or you live in the Memphis area, right?
I do. I live right outside in Germantown, but right here.
Would you be nervous to drive through Memphis, Tennessee at night?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Okay.
Would you? You just got to have a full tank of gas.
Would you recommend it to anyone for their safety? Off the interstate.
Yeah. I mean, you stay on. I'd have to tell you to stay on certain roads, but yeah, I mean, certain parts of Memphis, I wouldn't get off and get gas. But I think that's everywhere.
Yeah, there's.
I think that.
I agree with you there.
I think Memphis gets a bad rap for things, but I think a lot of it is brought on by the way we handle certain things in Memphis. But man, this place there's so much to offer, and I think that it's so centralized too, because of downtown and the river and the way that Memphis is built. You don't go from the outside in Memphis, right? You go from downtown out, because then you cross the river and you're in West Memphis, Arkansas. So it's just a different geographical look. When you drive through Memphis, you come in on 240 or 40 from wherever you're coming into. You come into the heart of Memphis. You can get off there anywhere you want. But then when you get down to the river in downtown Memphis, there's some areas down there that are dangerous, but people go down there all the time. I mean, we got Beale Street Music Fest last week. This week we got the World Championship Barbecue Contest going on right now on Tom Lee Park. So, tons of people will be downtown this weekend. That's for sure.
I've been to Memphis a handful of times. I've never felt unsafe at Memphis. I went to Beale Street at nighttime a couple of times. That was 30 years ago.
Is Beale Street, quote unquote, in a bad neighborhood or in a bad area, or is it kind of like the New Orleans, where you can go to Bourbon Street, but if you get off a block or two,
don't think there's very many good places in New Orleans anymore. And I'm going to be a little different, Jimbo. I think anywhere in Memphis now is getting dangerous, like all big cities. If there's a river runs through it, it's a shithole basically anymore. And that's a shame because Memphis has a lot of cool things. Really does.
It does.
But is Beale Street, quote unquote, in a bad area?
It's their tourist area.
It's a tourist area. I mean,
when the sun goes down,
yeah.
What's
going on.
Jimbo is playing it really, trying to be a really nice guy, but Jimbo's telling you right now, he's not letting his wife go to Beale Street after dark by herself or with one of her friends.
Absolutely. No, I wouldn't. But they go, there's certain areas downtown that they go to. I mean, my wife and friends go to the Orpheum and see plays and stuff. And, it's all about being with a group of people. I think it has a lot to do with being with a group of people too.
Is Beale Street kind of like Nashville Broadway? Is that? I've never been.
It's like Bourbon Street. It's the same thing. It's a drinking area.
Same type vibe, like bars and clubs and stuff like that.
A lot of history there. A lot of cool history. It's a cool place, and that's a shame. Just like Bourbon Street. I love the French Quarter in New Orleans. It's getting really, really bad, but is one of my favorite places in America.
A couple 3 weeks ago, we took, or probably longer than that. Yeah. We took the whole family down there with another family to go to the Grizzlies game. And we started at one end near where the Redbirds play and ate dinner along the way and walked down Bourbon Street to go to, walked to Bourbon Street. You got me talking about it. Walked down Beale Street to go to the Grizzlies game and, went back at 9:30 at night. I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. And with a group of people, I felt safe.
Okay. Now that you brung up Mr. Morant or the Grizzlies, I'm not a basketball fan. Not by any means. I don't watch any pro basketball. I hope the Lakers get their ass beat because I don't like LeBron. And I hope the Celtics win because I'm an old Celtic fan. So I hope, but I'm not going to watch any games. What's going on with Jay Morant? What the problem with him having a gun? That's his constitutional right. He's never shot anybody, has he?
It was in a nightclub though, wasn't it? So that's
the first
gun-free zone.
The first one was. Now there's a second video that leaked, I think Sunday. I've heard a bunch of news stories about it. I think it's young. It's a tough position now because our kids, we haven't really had a star athlete. We have Mike Conley, Zebo, Pau Gasol, Mark Gasol. The Grizzlies have always had talented players, but when you have a player that's supposed to be the face of the league, I think it's the perception of what people when you look at him and the supposedly the gun. I haven't watched the video. I've heard all the stories about it with this recent one, but that's a guy in Memphis. Jeff Calkins just brought that up. He's like, what's the problem with having a gun in Memphis? It's open carry. I think it's the perception to all of his fans that has made this one, another one, a bad look on him. It's, what do I tell my kid? That wears John Morant shoes to school every single day. We got them when they came out. The day one shoes. He loves John Morant. My daughter loves John Morant. Kind of what do you tell them about that? That's kind of I think that's what the Grizzlies are looking at as a whole. I don't, what he did is not illegal, but I think it's the perception when you are in a position that he's in, an influencer of what he does, what it looks like. And, do you agree, not agree? I don't really know. I think it's a tough call. Kind of that moral compass that you look at and what you want your perception to be, what you want your legacy to be. Well, I think right now John Morant needs to get his stuff together if he wants his legacy to be what people think it can be.
Well, here's my thoughts on it. I'm not, like I said, I don't know. If he walked in my room, the only thing I'd know is that's a tall dude. I don't know who he is. I would know him in public if I saw him. I know who Michael Jordan is. Michael Jordan's got a guy behind him that wears a suit that's got a gun under it at all times. He's got security guys. So I think it's kind of hypocritical. And I'm not calling out Michael Jordan on this at all because I'd be the same way. But Ja Morant, I don't know the whole basis of what it is. He hasn't shot anybody. He hadn't done wrong. If I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was wearing around $350,000 worth of jewelry, I'd be carrying my ass a gun too. Now, his problem is that his homies that's hanging out with him and shit need to quit posting this shit. That'd be the best thing he could probably do. But him having a gun is no different than me or you having a gun, Andy.
Right.
And if you had that kind of jewelry, I'm just going to throw this out there now so Andy doesn't look like the liberal he is. I'm betting you everywhere you fly, if you don't fly, you've got a gun on you, don't you?
Everywhere I travel, yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I carry
if
I do a long road trip, like I've got my AR, I'm not going to disclose how many magazines, but I've got that. I'm prepared.
Yep. I'm betting you when we were at the duck vent, we had a pistol pretty close to us at all times.
I didn't carry it inside.
But there was guns. That's the deal. So
I would have stolen Benelli's and what do they do with that? Do they take the firing pins out or
no? They're
live?
Shooting guns there.
No, like in there was a booth with Benelli and Beretta and all this other stuff.
They all had trigger locks on them.
Oh, they did.
But they had a key.
I didn't look that close.
They had a key in case shit got down.
in case we got to.
Well, there was no ammo. One of the jobs that I had one of the days was checking ammo boxes. So the ammo boxes were empty, and that's just safety and security. But yeah, all the guns had trigger locks. They had to check them every day, and there were some walking down those aisles, there were some guns that I would have felt safe standing behind had stuff gone crazy.
Well, and the shotgun guys could have come over to our booth and we could have given them some ammo. So we'd have been okay in case some jackass. It's not a gun-free zone, so there ain't nothing going to happen there anyways.
What's crazy is that thing that happened in Allen while we were there. That outlet mall. Fuck.
Evil. Well, being Nashville.
Yeah.
A few years ago, that's the senseless is just it hurts, especially when I know you have young kids and I do as well. Like when you just see that about the school, it tears your heart out. It's gotten crazy.
Yeah. I don't understand the hatred. That's the thing that gets me and I grew up in generations where we didn't have a lot of shootings like this. I was when Columbine, was that in 89?
No, that was 98.
98. I was out of school.
Dyslexic.
I graduated in 86. So we didn't have, I don't remember ever having a school shooting or anything like that. I remember a dumbass brung a gun to our school. We had a Western day called Howdy Week. And it was everybody dressed like cowboys. And a buddy of mine came to fucking school with a pistol in a damn holster like it was the Wild West days.
Not a cap gun, like a
real
pistol?
fucking pistol. And we even shot it after school. But nobody thought nothing of it. I mean, you just didn't worry about him.
He would not see the light of day.
No.
In today's world.
No.
But do you think that they happened? Is just social media wasn't around?
I think,
or they just didn't happen.
We didn't have that many. We didn't have school shootings back then.
I can tell you what has happened. And Jeff never goes there with his mind, but it's.
Oh, here we go.
It's just that these people, they don't see any other way out. Like all they have is hate in their heart. Like these are kids. So when you were a kid, Jeff, everybody was active in everything.
No,
right?
Not always true. We just made fun of people, and people were not soft.
Would you say that the majority of kids were active?
Oh, they had things going on in their life. If they went home after school, they had a job.
There are so many kids.
They were involved in either sports, they had jobs, they were in scouts, there was more stuff going on.
Right.
Yes.
There's so many kids today that they go to school, they're done at 3:30, they go home, and that's it. They're not involved in anything. Their home life is a wreck. And they've never felt loved at all.
You also had interactions too back when I was a kid.
Yeah, like you can go home and sit on TikTok all day, and that's your interactions with the outside world.
And see, we didn't have that. If you wanted to interact with people,
right,
you had to go outside.
Right. So that's an element that we've lost in this digital age. Is just nobody is connecting with anybody anymore. I mean, hell, you can go get a wife online now. I mean, with the dating sites and stuff, like
Whoa, hold on. What kind of money we talking?
Your date is like how far you're going is predetermined before you ever buy her dinner or anything. So there's no social element anymore. And when you diminish the social aspect in society, well, you don't feel empathy for anybody anymore. So it's easy to go to a shopping mall and open up on a family of 4 and kill 3 of them and wound the 7-year-old. That's the worst part of that whole story is that there's a family of 4, the mother, dad, and I think little brother died. And there's a 7-year-old orphan out there that lost his entire family on a Saturday afternoon.
Over absolutely something stupid as hell. I've said it before on here. I understand people getting mad at someone over a business deal. I can understand a spouse getting mad at another spouse. I can understand family issues. I can understand somebody snapping and not cooling off and someone shooting somebody. I don't agree with it. But I understand how that happens. I don't understand how you just casually park your car, get out with a gun, and start killing random people at stores. I just don't get it.
How did Cain kill Abel?
Well, I understand that. But it's evil, and I just don't understand.
How did Cain? It's in the Bible, Jeff. It's one of the oldest books written. Cain killed Abel. All he had was hate in his heart.
I know.
That's it.
And it's just hard to believe that we're at that place. So anyways, I don't understand Jay Morant deal. I don't understand what he's done is wrong. I don't think him having a gun, I think it's today's media. If they had a gun if Larry Bird would have had a gun, nobody said nothing of it. If Magic Johnson would have had a gun, I don't think they'd had nothing against it because back then it wasn't culturally negative to own a gun.
No, I think, and I agree. I think that it's what he did the second time, but I think it's the decisions you make leading up to that is where people are frustrated and have a problem with it. I think that you come out and you say, I'm going to be better and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to, be a better person. And then you get snubbed from the All NBA team, you lose $40 million. I mean, that was kind of the talk, is that, I'm going to come back and be on top next year. And then, another video comes out, and not, whether it's what the NBA does with it. I know the Grizzlies suspending from all activities the NBA to do their investigation. What the NBA does with it, I don't know. But I think from, the perception of the fans in Memphis, it's like, all right, enough is enough. Our kids want to, look up to a guy, and whether you like LeBron James or not, and I'm not a LeBron James fan. I think he's an incredible person. He has set the বার for star athletes. Never been in trouble. Never done anything that, could be well.
I agree with you.
But he's not. And so when you look at all these other ones, it's like, man, just following what LeBron James did. I mean, he was the youngest person to make millions of dollars. Not the youngest person, but he was, the athlete, kind of like the Kobe's that came straight out of high school, made an impact instantly. So I don't know, but hey, I don't have that kind of money. I don't know what that kind of lifestyle looks like. So, I could sit back here and tell John Morant what to do all day long, but I also didn't sign a contract for $198 million.
And how old is he? Like 23, 24?
23.
So, I mean, like,
20.
You're 23 years old. That's the thing. Like, it makes a lot of sense to 35. I'm 35. Jeff's however old. And, the blueprint is out there. And that makes a lot of sense. Like, just do this and you'll be happy. But as a 23-year-old kid that's on top of the world and just signed that massive deal, like, good luck talking to him.
I never had thought about that LeBron James deal. I'm not a LeBron fan either, but he has done a lot of good. He don't mind having a 4-year-old make tennis shoes for him for Nike, so I'm a little against that shit. But when it comes to being a nuclear family, stayed out of trouble, raised his kids very well. His son seems like he's a really good kid. He's done a great job, a really, really good job. The sad thing is there's a lot of LeBron Jameses out there, but we don't ever think about them because of all the turds that do other shits, the ones we hear about all the time. Anyways, the Jay Morant deal has just most of the guys that get in trouble have done something legitimately. I can say, well, that piece of shit, he don't deserve his money. The kid having a fucking gun, I don't think he hasn't shot anyone. I think they're coming down a little hard on him. I have not watched the first video, and I haven't watched the second video. So
I just saw he was at a club or a strip club? Because I saw the gun like fell out. There was a girl dancing, I know, or she was around him.
Well, at least he didn't shoot himself like Plaxico Burress did.
Yeah, that would have been embarrassing. Hey, I heard y'all ran out of 20 gauge shells at the shoot on what, Saturday?
Saturday we did.
That's awesome.
We did. Yeah. We just, the shooting numbers, the people that shot at the DUX were extremely high compared to years past. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that the overall shooters on Saturday were up significantly. And I made a few passes out there, and it was packed every time I went. A lot of people out shooting, and Tetra did a hearing challenge shoot. I did go test that on Friday, which I thought was pretty cool.
What was that?
Something different, where you sat in 5 different scenarios: dove, stool, did a boat, sat in a boat, stood behind a A-frame, blind. You did like 5 different hunting style scenarios and shot a true pair at each, or a true report at each station. Mm-hmm. And then you got tickets for some prizes based on how many you shot.
Oh, that's badass.
It's a pretty cool deal. But the wins made shooting. I don't know that I would have wanted to make my decision on buying a gun in some of those wins.
Right. I wonder what happened. Like, I mean, I wonder like why the numbers were so far up. I wonder if there's just a lot of cool guns that are coming out that people are wanting to try out, or if it was just like I can't put my finger on what happened this year.
Any event like that takes time to build.
Oh, right. I
mean, everybody wants to compare every trade show out there, but I mean, things take time to build, and I mean, the event was planned during COVID the first time. It got canceled, and so it had to be moved back a year. So I just think the word's getting out about the shooting part, and that you can go and try basically a lot of different guns out there and see what you like.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Like the first year was during COVID. So it was like, whoop,
Yeah,
nope,
the second
stop.
year there were restrictions.
Mm-hmm. So was last year like the first year where it was kind of full bore?
To somewhat, to some degree, yeah. I would say this year was probably the first full year where there were no restrictions at all. I mean, I did not attend it last year due to I had another event at the same time, but yeah, I would say this year's probably the first year that everything was open and everything was moving together and probably with no restrictions at all. Weather played into our favor this year too. Besides wind, had the storm at night, a Saturday night. It was a pretty good storm came through, but leading up to it, we didn't have anything.
Yeah, I remember.
Which I hear is, that's not common in Texas.
Oh yeah, they blow up. They blow up. So May's the time, baby. Like bad storms. Really, I mean, you're in Texas. Like if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 or 10 minutes and it's going to change. That's the good thing about April and May is you get all 4 seasons in a day. But yeah, I mean, y'all dodged a bullet.
It's been a boring chase season so far for me.
You chased last week.
Well, I got on a tornado, but it was still not much of a. We haven't been very many opportunities. We're supposed to have like week-long opportunities, and of course, the ridge is killing us now. So,
speaking of storm chasing, Jeff. I mean, is Tornado Alley moving?
Yes.
We talk about, everybody wants to talk about flyways moving. I mean, is the Tornado Alley moving? Because
yes.
I had to hunker down a lot in Memphis.
Yes, it has. The move that shifted east. The Dixie Alley is either grown or it's the season's getting longer because the Dixie Alley used to be February, March, April, basically. So late February, March, and April, you'd get them storms. Now that area has really gotten bombarded with storms, and the chasers don't like it because you can't see nothing.
Too many trees.
You can't get around. There's too much water. There's too many trees. We got into that last week. Last Thursday, I chased in Oklahoma. Western Oklahoma is great. Eastern Oklahoma gets hard. We were in Eastern Oklahoma, east of Oak City, about 50 miles, and there was a couple of big lakes there. Well, you start finding the roads. If this tornado drops down, how are we going to stay on it? We're out west. It's a mile. Everything's a mile grid almost road-wise. Can't see shit. But yes, the Tornado Alley has definitely changed. This is the time of year that we should be in tornado watches at least twice a week, severe thunderstorm watches twice a week from South Texas, or when I say Southwest Texas, from the middle of Odessa area all the way up through the middle of Kansas should have these big watch boxes along these fronts and dry lines. And it's not happening. We're still going to have some bad weather. Now, with the El Nino that we're going into, we're going to have a wet summer and a wet fall, which is normal. Well, that's normally what happens on El Nino, so hopefully that happens. But yeah, I think your storm season is going to last a lot longer this year, probably.
So congratulations.
So you will probably be in the cellar a bunch. Do you have an underground cellar?
Do y'all have cellars or basements?
No, see, most people in Memphis, Germantown have a room they go to under the staircase or a closet with no windows. Nobody has. I mean, I'm sure some people do. I mean, that have cellars or storm rooms. My in-laws, they have a underground, I guess, tornado or weather, whatever you call it, bunker out back underneath the ground.
A cellar. If you've got something underground, you're safe. Them above ground ones, I've said this before, I don't give two shits. I had a guy tell me, he said, well, I got one and says it's good for 500 mile an hour winds. We don't ever have 500 mile an hour winds. I go, you're correct. We don't. But that little fucking Kia car across the street over there, fucking tornado picks that sumbitch up and throws it 200 miles an hour and it hits your fucking above ground room. You're going to be dead. Above ground is not the way to go. But the biggest tornado I've ever seen in my entire life was the one when I was a kid, and we got in a cellar in the middle of the house, and we're lucky it didn't hit us, because if it would have, I don't know if we'd have been left anyways. A big, strong tornado, anything above ground is going to get wiped out probably. That's just the way. If you get a direct hit, there ain't nothing you can do about that. That's God.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about Memphis is, and as soon as I say this, the next one will come, but the river and the bluff seem to protect Memphis pretty well. We end up with a ton of straight line winds. Schuster lost 3 trees a couple weeks ago in the last one. 2 of them fell in his front yard, and one of them so close it leaned on his house. But we get a ton of straight line winds.
Speaking
But the bluff,
with El Nino and La Nina, like, is there ever just normal? Because I don't ever remember hearing about El Nino until I was.
I have no idea. We need to
Kid.
get a real meteorologist but I'm like you. I didn't ever
Like
hear it.
all of a sudden, like it's
1997.
it's either El Nino or La Nina all the time. Like, has it always been one or the other, or is there just a normal?
I think that it's probably always been one.
I thought it was just dry and wet.
Right.
I think someone just coined somebody in history finally figured out, or in meteorology, like, oh shit, if the Arctic Ocean is 1 degree colder than usual this year, and when we do it rains a lot, and when it's hotter, it doesn't do as much. I'm assuming it's just something they found recently, but I don't remember ever hearing about it until the late 90s.
Right. At late 90s, it was.
Both of my neighbors work for the Weather Channel, and every time this comes, I text them and say, "Do I need to watch out, or what are you thinking?" And the amount of information and what they store in their heads is unbelievable. They are so smart.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jeff, I'm sure you meet those all the time, storm chasing, but I mean, what they look at is nothing what I look at. I look at, my local weather station and see what they say. But
the true guys that are weather spot chasers, that are meteorologists, blow my mind, because I don't know shit. I know how to read a radar real well, and I know how to copy what other guys that are really big time chasers are doing.
Follow license plates.
I'm really good at being in the right place, and I'm good at hawking information off people. I've got a network of people, and it helps me a lot because I'm in the right place most of the time. But one of them guys comes up.
So you're a public land shot
chaser. big time
when it comes to
yes.
storm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a hunt-proof guy for storm chasing, or on X or whatever it is. Those guys will come up to the real. I'll be sitting on the side of the road, and a guy come up and talk to me, and he's like, "Well, you think they're them clouds got a little stratus in them, and they got upflow and downflow and rip currents and blah blah this." And I'm like, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. But I'm going to be on the next fucking wall cloud wherever it's at. But I don't know. I had a guy stop me in Oklahoma the other day. We were filming, and he comes up, "Well, what do y'all see?" And I said, "Oh, we're looking at these kangaroos out here." Kangaroos? Are you shitting? That's what I always tell people. They just, what the fuck you think we're doing? We're in the middle of the road, middle of nowhere. You live by here. You've never seen me before. And we got all kinds of cameras and shit out at the clouds. Yeah, we're looking for storms.
Jeff's just an asshole to these people.
It just the common sense.
Did you see Twister 2 filming in, what is it, El Reno?
We went right by where they were filming the other day.
Did. Just wave to Helen Hunt?
No, I didn't. I didn't even see where they were filming. They were also chasing. We pulled up at we got stuck in a roadblock. It was all highway patrols, and we pulled up. And we got a Suburban, and we've got 2 big cameras going. We got GoPros everywhere. We look like we're the fucking shits. I mean, we do. We roll up, and that lady rolls the window. She goes, "The road's blocked. That you can't go that way. You can go this way." She goes, "That way's where the tornado is." I go, "Well, that's what we want to see, where the tornado." She goes, "Oh my God, y'all are a film crew. Come through. Y'all are storm chasers." Them fucking people got out of the road and let us through. The next roadblock, same thing happened to us. We're storm chasers. Let us go through.
Imposters.
Oh yeah. I said they probably think we're filming. They probably think we're filming Twister 2.
One time Jeff got reservations. He pretended to be a doctor.
And it worked.
And it worked.
Scotch and sirloin,
So
Wichita, Kansas.
So like Jeff's just all about just.
I didn't get reservations. I walked up to the
right.
deal.
You didn't have reservations.
And it was an hour and a half wait. And I told the lady, the hostess, I said, "You don't have reservations for Dr. Stanfield? Hold on." And she started looking through her computer. She goes, "We don't." And I said, "Shit." I said, "I'm going to kill my secretary." I said, "I have got to deliver a baby in 2.5 hours, and I have to be there for that. And we have this dinner party. Hold on, Doc." And she went in the back, and they had us, Doc. 3 minutes. We had the best table they had right in front of the fireplace. And
they're going to get you one of these days.
Waitress called me Doc the whole time.
I wish somebody would have gone into labor. "Oh, don't worry, we got a doctor right over here. He'll see you."
Yeah.
Insurance. My insurance don't cover that.
That would have been the best. Or if they'd have called you out on like needing credentials of some sort for your storm chasing bullshit.
I'll tell you a funny story about delivering a baby though. So my dad was a fireman in Wichita, and they got a call, and they would be a first responders. They'd get there before the ambulance did, and they get there. And this black guy comes out of the house. He's like, "Oh, Lord, thank God y'all are here. Thank God. My daughter, she's fixing to have a baby any minute. Just go on in. They said, "The ambulance will be behind us. I'll sit here and I'll tell them, I'll point them in." Firemen run inside. This lady comes big. "Oh, Lord, thank God you're here, fixing to have a baby." And they flip her on the couch, pull up her dress, pull her panties down, and they start checking to see where she's dilated at. The guy comes in, he goes, whoa, what are you doing? "That's my wife. My daughter's in the back room back here."
Wrong lady.
Wrong one.
After they done check to see if she's dilated.
But she's definitely not pregnant.
She's dilated to 4 naturally.
She walks around at a 4. We have a lot more fun with you than we ever did with David.
Yeah, David, don't let us talk about stuff like this.
David kind of nips it in the bud.
I'll probably get the call from him.
Hey, is that a dead mount?
You're supposed to stop him.
Yeah, is that a dead mount behind you? What?
Yeah. How do you take the
No,
board
you're
off?
good. You're good. I was seeing what all is it.
You do have bare walls. You need to work with David on some decorations.
You gotta feng shui that room. There you go. Oh, you got a pintail on there. I thought it was a mallard. Okay, pintail and a mallard. I got you. I like.
Better one's the hybrid.
What?
I've got a hybrid in front.
What is?
Pintail mallard hybrid.
We've killed a couple of them over the years. What is your? Where did you grow up at?
Oh, up top.
Oh yeah.
I like that. What kind of turkey's that in the corner?
Eastern.
Oh, fuck those guys.
Andy still's got bad memories this year. They whipped his ass. Where did you grow up at, Jimbo?
So I was born in Memphis. Lived here for 11 years, and then I moved to South Carolina. Went to middle school, high school there. Went and played football at Wofford College in Spartanburg. Lived there with my mom and stepdad, and then when I graduated college, I came to Memphis to work for DU, and my dad lives in Memphis and tons of family here. Just coincidentally, I came back to Memphis. I didn't have plans to, but followed a career here. And so grew up in South Carolina and Memphis.
So
how did you get hooked up with Ducks Unlimited?
Always done here. I started a chapter at Wofford when I was there. Just didn't have a bunch of duck hunters that I knew while I was there. And so I started a DU chapter, a collegiate DU chapter. And our regional director at the time said, "Hey, man, there's a job that's opened at DU. I know you don't have a job yet," when I graduated. And that was in 2008. And so I kind of slid into DU right before, the housing crisis and the market, all that. So I had bounced around between a few jobs within the building for 2 years. And then I went into the field as a regional director in 2010, which I did up until January of this year.
What is that job like?
Doing all of our fundraising events. Basically, you get to work with all the volunteers across the country, but in West Tennessee, I had West Tennessee and the Boot Hill of Missouri when I started. So basically, you work with the volunteers to host all of our fundraising events across the country. It was, you're a professional party planner, as some people call it, but really you just are working. The volunteers do the hard work. I mean, that's what makes DU who we are. I know y'all talked to Schuessler about this numerous times, but the volunteers put on the events. You're basically their biggest cheerleader and assist them in anything they need. But every regional director is different. That's what makes DU so unique. Every committee is different. So it was a blast. It was one of I had an awesome time as a regional director, working with so many different people and meeting so many people and just doing it for 13 years. You just watch young kids grow up and coming back to events year after year. That's kind of what was so rewarding for me. I was watching the smiles on their faces at events every year and telling me about the ducks they shot, between the 2 years. So that's what we do. We have 89 regional directors throughout, 89 regional directors throughout the country that all have the same passion that I did.
I didn't realize how important the college chapters were to Ducks Unlimited. I mean, it's crazy the amount of money that some of these guys raise.
Well, in my new role, that's one of the things that I am oversee our collegiate and varsity chapters. The high school chapters, to me, now have become very, very important. That's one of the things that I was. The high school chapter started in North Carolina. The volunteers in North Carolina saw the need to put something in high schools, and they started their own chapters up there. And to be honest, I laughed about it. I thought there's no way I'm going into high schools and working the DU chapter role and trying to host events. And then over time, I had a guy call and say, "Hey man, I go to a local private school here in Memphis. I'd like to start a DU chapter." And then one after the another, we had 4 private schools in Memphis that wanted to have varsity chapters, and we had the 2 top varsity chapters in the country in Memphis for 6 years. One of them was the national champion 6 years in a row. They raised the most money year over year, and they were raising most money than a lot of my adult chapters, which was a really incredible thing. But you get those kids that, may not have had a parent or anybody to get them involved in the outdoors, get them involved in a high school DU chapter. And then when they go to college, they, seek out those same people in college and start a DU chapter. And now over the span of it, they've been involved with DU for 6 or 7 years. It's kind of just something they do. And then when they graduate college, they go on and get on their local committee or start their committee if they don't have one. And I bet I've had hundreds now. But this all started in 2014. So for 7 years or 9 years, I had kids coming through the varsity program at the high schools. And then we have an all-girls school here in Memphis. St. Agnes is an all-girls private school, and they have 87 committee members.
Wow.
On their committee. And they raise $25,000 to $30,000 every year at their local event.
That's crazy.
And that to me is that's where my passion really got going, was watching when I saw they do it all. I mean, that these high school kids do it all. They go and get underwriting and sell tickets to parents. And I mean, it turns into a normal banquet when they walk in the door. As far as what it looks like from the outside, it's a normal DU event, except for the all-girls event, which I have to get my wife involved to help me because I don't know what the trends are.
Yeah.
But yeah, the shoes. That's, if you want to really know what drops the high school girls and their parents, it's called Golden Goose Shoes.
Golden Goose Shoes.
There's $700 tennis shoes.
Oh,
And they look used.
Shit.
No shit.
Yes. Look them up. Yep. And there's a store here in Memphis that sells them. I mean, I think they sell them online, but I
They're
think
fucking
they
rundown
make
shoes.
guys'
Let me see 'em.
shoes. I'm telling you.
They look like busted up
But,
Converses for $700.
I think.
This was $715. I'm looking
You gotta
at
be
it.
kidding me.
Yeah.
It's just an old
I'm
rundown
telling you.
shoe. Looks like it had.
I feel sorry for a kid wearing those.
Looks like
I'd be
you
like,
feel
"Dad,
bad
could buy
for
you
that
some
kid.
shoes?"
Like, hey, you want to go buy some Nikes or Adidas? We can't buy Nike.
They're
But
$700.
damn, they look like what Forrest.
And Jeff and Andy, I bet 70% of the girls that were on that committee had those shoes on when we took their group picture.
First of all, you're going
There were 49 of them
Jeez.
You're going to a high dollar academy.
that actually came to the event.
So
Where do you even get these at? Because these are not at the they are not at shoe department that I go to.
There's a store here in Memphis. My wife, she went and bought them for me every year, and
You have
bought
some?
them to the event. But yeah,
Well, no,
I know for the
I
event.
thought you meant you're wearing them. Well, we're gonna have a new conversation next time I see you.
the cheapest pair that I can find is
No.
$538.
We have a shoe expert in our
Yeah.
family.
Golden Goose sneakers. They look like what Forrest Gump ran
Golden-
across the country in. Like by the time you finally get them, these are all busted up.
Now, I just sent my wife a link told her, have you ever heard of Golden Goose sneakers, right?
I'm gonna ask my wife also.
And I'm gonna tell you what's gonna end up happening is
You're gonna have a pair
of
of
Golden Goose fucking sneakers, and before we go to fucking New York in 2 weeks.
and then Jeff's gonna hear, "Oh, I've had them forever."
Yeah, that's gonna be the biggest bunch of
And
shit.
then Jeff's gonna send me a message and say
Thanks a lot. He's gonna ask her, "When did you get those Golden Goose sneakers?" "Oh, I've had them for years. I just never wear them." It's how she sneaks shit in.
Yeah, we all do that.
We've
When did that come in the mail? About 2 months ago.
Yeah.
been there.
You just didn't see it.
When'd you get that?
It's funny, now that I work in the office, I can get stuff shipped to the office, and it's like, where'd that come from? I was at the office.
It's just there.
But the cool thing about it is that, you know, these girls are so passionate about DU conservation. A lot of them hunt, and that was what the interesting was, is listening to them all kind of tell me about, you know, hunting with dad or uncle or grandfather over time, and you know, and we let them build their own DU event, and I think that's one of the things that makes DU so unique is that they built it. I mean, they would get Pink Yetis for their event, and they'd have, you know, other DU stuff at the event too, but Golden Goose Shoes, and they give me a list every year of things that I needed to go out to the town to buy, or they would get donated. And it really helped me because it allowed me to, you know, get some clues on what's going on now. Get my wife really cool Christmas and birthday gifts.
I gotta
not
talk
those
to you.
shoes, but there's some duffel bags. But
Yeah.
They would fill me in. They'd ask me stuff all the time. You never heard of that? Say no. It looks like a regular old hooded sweatshirt that I wear every day, and they'd be like, "Man, it's $207. $207."
They've got a
Lululemon.
Oh yeah, we
sweatshirt.
know about that shit now.
I got to start texting you
Okay.
around like birthday and Christmas time because I suck at gift giving. But
Man, me
Golden
too.
Goose, that might be a little bit.
One
out
of my
price
guides
range.
wears Lululemon pants.
It's not me.
Really?
Yep, Blake
not-
I have heard that they are comfortable.
Blake oversized Poppy. He has some.
Yeah, it's the guy that if you saw all the guides lined up on a wall and you were like, "Hey, pick out the Lululemon wear," you would not pick him.
No, he would
But
become.
he loves them.
It wouldn't be.
No,
Blake.
he might be pick behind me even. Me and Blake would be at the bottom of the list of the Lululemon guy. But
He talks about how comfortable they are, though. I'm gonna get me a pair. I can't let Blake be the only Lululemon. wear.
You know,
they sell slacks.
I hear they're super comfortable.
They have a pair. I'm on goldengoose.com. They've got a pair of plain white sneakers. Nothing. They don't even have the star on them. There's no color. White. $350
Woo.
for white sneakers.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know nothing about Golden Goose, but if they're made in America, I would buy Golden Goose before I'd buy a pair of Nikes.
Hey, I don't know about the sizing though. It starts at size 35. How does that work?
European sizes, probably.
Oh,
Yeah, so that would probably mean they're not made in America.
Yeah, I got
There
that
you
too. So I'm not buying Golden Gooses, but that was a dead giveaway on that thing. And to be honest with
There's
you,
a chart out there somewhere.
they're bringing. You know what they look like? They look like Converses from the '70s.
yeah. Made in Italy.
Yep, Converse should have signed Michael Jordan.
It's like I tell my wife all the time. I'm like, my fashion what I wear every day will come back around at some point, and I'll be cool again.
Eventually, it'll all come back. Yeah, it's made out of real leather. That's what makes it so expensive.
You know,
Made in Italy.
You said that about the clothes will come back. I remember growing up in the 80s and you'd see some fucker still wearing his 70s clothes, an old guy, 35 years old. He'd be going to bars and shit and have his shirt unbuttoned down to his belly button, his gold chain and all that shit. And you're thinking, that fucker lives in a time warp. That shit hadn't been in style in years. And then as I get older, I realize I'm the same way. Fuck it. It'll come back. Or
Well, I mean,
I'm just going to wear what I want. I'm
It's
comfortable with it.
bell bottoms now. Like bell
Yes.
bottoms have made their way back. So, you know, we're in the 70s.
Are you getting you some bell bottoms? No. You're not going to?
That's going to miss me.
Yeah, I'm not ever wearing them fuckers.
Yeah, that's not happening. My wife has heard of them. She said yes, and they are so ugly. Glad I did not get that for her for Mother's Day. I would have been a big swing and a miss, and I'd have been out $700.
What'd you get your wife for Mother's Day?
I did get her a pair of sneakers.
And did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
start working out.
Mom bought her own stuff.
Well, we're not there yet. Maybe one day.
I don't know if my wife was telling me something this year for Mother's Day or what, but
Mother's
I
Day
had
just
something
ended.
in mind of the kids. I know that.
Just wanna make
Yes.
sure.
I had my mom in town too. But my son had his birthday party this past weekend, and we did something that was awesome. They did the little gel bees, the Orbeez, the gel blaster guns. They've got some paintball parks here in Memphis that they've turned into those gel blaster gun parks. And so that and they don't hurt as bad. I got shot 1,000 times standing on the sidelines this weekend, but they had a blast doing that. I wish, man, if I was a kid and I'd had one of those, I'd have gotten in a lot more trouble. But so she said, I'm gonna get my own Mother's Day gift. I'm buying me a purse. And I said, okay.
Go ahead.
I guess I was out. I got cards and kids made breakfast and I cooked dinner Sunday night, but I didn't have to do the shopping this year. So I asked her, I said, "Are you trying to tell me that what I've gotten in the years past, I didn't do very good?" Or, so.
I've sucked at gift giving from day one. About the second or third Christmas me and Michelle were together, I bought her a bunch of shit, and I was so proud of it. She opened it and looked like she's happy. About, I don't know, the next fall, I bought her this jacket from Cabela's I thought was so cool. And I see her sister wearing it the next fall. I'm like, isn't that the coat I got you for Christmas? Oh, she just loves it, Jeff. I just had to give it to her and stuff. And I started noticing anything I fucking bought, she never wore. So I gave up on that shit. So I just let her, you buy your present. And matter of fact, at Christmas time, when we open presents at my house, it's a surprise for me for everything, because I don't know what anybody's gotten, because I don't do any shopping. And I'm happy with that, because I don't like to shop.
I don't shop either.
No, I don't. My wife just got back from Charleston, and before she left, she was like, "It'd be really nice if the house was clean when I got back." So that's what I did.
Was it clean?
Yeah, it was clean. I mopped. I didn't do laundry because I don't.
Well, I hope it's clean when you leave. That's what you just said.
I did. No, she said it'd be really nice if the house was clean when I got back. So me and the boys picked up their rooms. I mopped. I don't know how to do laundry, so I didn't do laundry. I did one load. And
how did it work? Did it work out for you?
Yeah.
I'm with you on laundry too. Your mom does all that shit.
I did a load of darks and I did a load of towels. So other than that, that's it.
I'm pretty good at laundry. I got good 2 years ago. My wife, January 3rd, 2021, my wife fell out of the attic.
Uh-oh.
And taking luggage up the old attic pull downstairs.
Yep. Boy, I bet you never heard the end of that.
She got to, I know.
How long had you left it in the foyer for her to finally be like, "Fuck it, I'm putting it up there"?
I don't know. Probably.
We all live in the same house.
That she said, "I'll do it myself."
Yeah, we all live in that house.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, so she stepped down and she fractured her heel, broke it into tons of pieces, and she has a plate and 9 screws. So she was non-weight bearing for 12 weeks.
Damn.
And so it was either I did the laundry or it didn't get done. So I do the old cold theory. I watch everything on cold, and I try to do darks and lights and watch everything on cold unless it's towels.
Yeah.
She's like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that those stay the same.
But I did make some serious mistakes early on in laundry, and one of them was not checking pockets for Sharpies. Oh, you want to talk about being yelled at? But yeah,
my wife's, we got 2 young boys, so she stain treats everything. I did not do that on the one load that I did. So like, evidently the stains are like baked in there now. So
that'd be your fault.
Yeah. So you put them to the dryer too.
Oh yeah. I'm not hanging shit up. Like, it's all going to the dryer, and then I'll fold it and all that other stuff. Like, I'm not.
I'll attempt to spray stuff, but I can't get. I spray it, the stain doesn't come out. She sprays it, the stain comes out. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
One bit. Maybe she lets them soak longer. I'm ready to get it done and out of the way. Folded and put up.
When we first started the podcast, I got a text from my mother-in-law. We're going to the hospital with Jessie. She was big pregnant at the time. And I was like, oh, fuck, what has happened? Like, we're in the middle of the podcast. She's like 8 months, right? Yeah. Like we had our second son in July, and like this is like around the 4th of July, into June, 4th of July. And I'm like, oh no, what's happened? Like, we're just started a podcast. And she's like, we think she broke her foot. I'm like, oh fuck, how did she do that? Evidently, my dog, who was not, he's my dog when he screws up.
I've never heard her say it's our dog.
I can't even remember what he did. He ate one of the kids. He ate my oldest food or something like that.
Panties.
Or panties, or licked her panties or something like that. So she kicked him. And then like, she's 8 months pregnant. She's hobbling along, and like, luckily, like the x-rays came back negative. But like, I have been there where it's just like, oh God, what are we going to do now? Because I was like, fuck, she's pregnant. Now she's got a broken foot, and how's she going to push on a broken foot? I don't, it all goes everywhere. But one of those things, totally wasn't my fault, but it ended up being my fault.
Well, I tell you those, it happened January 3rd, which is like the heart of duck season here. And I was supposed to hunt with Schuessler like the next week. And my wife is a saint. And I will never ever take for granted all she does for us at the house, but especially during duck season. And man, I had to it was daddy daycare, and it turned into like this big joke, and all my friends were, but all the things I had to do, and I was posting it on Instagram. Like forgetting the mail.
Yeah.
Like I think we went 7 or 8 days without me getting the mail. And when I finally got it, I opened that mailbox and that door swung open and stuff fell out. I mean, I was like, stuff like getting the mail, but it was great. My mother-in-law came and I'm lucky enough that I still hunt with my grandfather, dad, uncle, brother. Duck hunting's a way of life in our family. So, I packed up Mary Morgan one weekend and they all went to the duck club.
Though
we did it together.
You're like we are. Ours is a little different, but you work in the hunting industry. You work for Ducks Limited. You got to duck hunt some. That's part of work. So they can't really get mad at you for working. You just happen to choose a really cool job.
Oh, they do.
No, and I play that. Well, the card that I play is not the work card. The card that I play is the grandfather card.
Oh, right.
Mike Sweetheart. Dubba's 83, 84 this year. It's maybe his last season. I got to get, this last 6 or 7 days in. And she's like, you've been playing that card for 11 years now.
Well, one day you're going to be right.
You know what? One day. And I fortunately lost a really good August to a tragic drowning here in Memphis and kind of brought a lot of things in perspective. Like you never know.
Wait, you broke up. You lost what to drowning? Go back.
A good friend of his.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I lost one of my really good friends last August to a drowning incident. We coach football. We flag football, and we had a big practice here in Memphis, and the storm came out of nowhere. And we have a culvert, and in that culvert, a little boy fell in, and my buddy Will jumped in to save the boy. And he actually missed the boy going under him there at the culvert, and Will held on to the side wall going under the road, and he didn't want to go through the culvert. Looking back on it, hindsight 2020, if he'd have gone through, he would have lived, but we didn't know what was on the other side, neither did he.
Right.
And so he drowned, and he was I with him the second to last day of season the year before, and so it, we joke about it, but things like that happen, and you never know when your last day is going to be. So I don't take I really this year didn't take any days for granted, and spent a lot of time with my family and some of my close friends. I tried to invite more friends to go duck hunting with me, more volunteers, just because I don't ever want to be the hey, well, let's try it next year, because it may not be there.
Yeah,
that's a bad deal. I'm sorry to hear about your friend. I remember when that happened. What was his name?
Will Drennan.
Will Drennan, yes. It was all over. It was because I saw it. Matter of fact, I reached out to David about it, and he told me about you and Will. Anyway, that was a horrible deal.
Puts things into perspective, though. I mean, like, nobody knows when their ticket's going to get punched. And I mean, it's just all about going out there and doing everything that you can every single day. And, just waking up and being able to do what you love it's a win. But yeah, man, that sucks.
You want to live a long, long time. Now I found out after listening to Andy today that I can buy me a new wife on the internet. So if anything happens to Michelle, I'm looking at finding me one that's younger with a whole lot of money. Did they have a place for those?
I'm sure.
For young, wealthy women. They're looking for old men for husbands.
I don't know that's women will mate across and up.
I'm in big trouble then.
Yeah, you're probably screwed.
Looking for a poor fat lady.
What all trips will you take in a year? Hunting trips, or do you try to stay right around Memphis?
Mainly I hunt around here, but that has a lot to do with just my dad, grandfather, and son. But I go to North Dakota every year. We started going about 10 years ago. We met a farmer up there, and we hunt their land. And so become really good friends with them and their family. And I'll leave all my stuff up there, all of our layout, our A-frames and decoys. And so last year was the first year we flew. The other years we've driven, but we decided to fly last year for the sake of time with kids. But I go to North Dakota every year, mid-October, and then I'll go Arkansas, I'll hunt Tennessee a few days around Christmas, but mainly I go over to Arkansas and I'll hunt Mississippi a little bit, but I stay around here for the most part. And it may change with my new role, but the fall is busy.
Yeah.
As a regional director, fundraising events in the fall, to go away in October was a lot. But that's a busy time for you in the fundraising world. So fundraising normally ends here around 1st of December. So I'd hunt opening weekend and Thanksgiving week. We spend Thanksgiving as a family at the Duck Club and go to the World Championship Duck Calling Contest. And then I'll normally hunt that next week when it's closed in Tennessee or Mississippi. But I went to Oklahoma a few years ago. I've threatened to go back out there, Kansas, but what I have is I know the areas I know, and I just stay around here and love what we do here.
What is the coolest of all the DU banquets you've been to? What's the coolest format you've seen as a fundraiser ever?
The coolest format.
Someone has to have something that they do that's different than everybody else's. That's really, really super cool.
I would have to say fishing for ducks.
I
would have to say, the ice fishing tournament that's shaped like a duck head on ice. And it's probably because I live in the South. That's probably why I think it's so unique. That one or I think poker runs, John Boat poker runs on the lakes, pretty cool. But I would say that fishing for ducks event is so unique. Or the Seawee event in Charleston, where they, during the Seawee event, Southeastern Wildlife Expo, that they serve 3,000 people oysters, but they cannot start setting up until 3:00. And the doors open at 5:30. So they have 2.5 hours to set up an event for 3,000 people eating oysters. And it's one of our top events in the country every year. And I think that the event, that one may not be the coolest as far as you look at events, but the amount of people they serve and how fast they have to do it and get that room set up is incredible. But I think the fishing for ducks, I'm not an ice fisherman. I've never done it. But looking at that, that's one that's on my list to go and see. Because everything's on ice. Yeah. It's just mind blowing to me.
Right.
I don't.
That Seawee event, I would like to go to that next year. I've heard that is an amazing show.
Is it the same as Turkey though? I think it's the same exact.
No, weekend. I think it's the next weekend.
It wasn't this year. It was the same weekend.
It was this year, but I don't think it's always.
It's called Seawee.
This year was the same time because we had split staff.
Oh.
It's in Charleston. Because we split staff. Some staff went to Seawee, someone did WTF, but
which one did you go to?
It's not always. I didn't go to either one of them. I was transitioning at that point.
Oh.
And so I stayed in Memphis to I was trying to get events going. We hadn't hired my replacement yet. So I stayed here. So many different events. We have a massive oysterist here. We used to serve 1,000 people. We used to cook 6,000 pounds of oysterist crawfish. Well, we used to have 6,000 pounds of crawfish in 2 hours.
Jeez. How do you even do
over
that?
1,000 people. About 4 trailers,
uh-huh.
massive tanks, and winches. They literally would winch the pots out, slide them down on a rail, dump them in these massive coolers, shake them, and serve them. It was too big. It literally got to be where it was too big. And now we do 500 people in the parking lot of headquarters.
Same weekend again.
It is
same exact.
It
week.
is
Seawee and
not going to Seawee then.
Both are Valentine's Day weekend.
Not going to Seawee then.
So yeah, that's probably the coolest one. Fishing for ducks is around that time too. It's in February. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen pictures, but they make the shape of a duck head with all the spots you fish. It's a $25,000 grand prize for the biggest fish, or however that looks. I can't remember how that exactly
that's
looks.
in February also, or is it in January?
Is that February?
It's in February.
It was like the weekend before Seaway, wasn't it?
I think so. Yep.
What's it called again?
Fishing for ducks.
Fishing for ducks.
Is it there in Memphis?
No.
It's
like up north.
ice fishing.
No, I got
it's
you.
in Minnesota.
I'm looking
it's
at
in Minnesota.
I'm still looking at the Golden Goose thing. So
it's February 17th, same weekend also.
I've got it. I'm gonna send you this pair of shoes. You got to look at this. $800 for slides.
Yeah, your mom just bought some. She said.
Oh God.
No, she didn't. She said that. She goes,
"How
they look like crappy Converses." I said,
"What do the high school events? What all are they able to do? I mean, obviously the Golden Goose, but like what? Because some of these, you have in Texas at least a little risque and some beer and some other things. So like high school, what do their events look like?
A lot of them are very close to an adult event. It all depends on the school. But like we host the 3 events here in Memphis. We host them off campus. They have basically a separate room where people can get adult drinks. It's totally separate from where the venue's going on. You walk through and they have somebody kind of standing at the door checking to make sure kids aren't going in there. But it'll look very similar to an adult event, minus as you said, the raffle girls, raffle sellers. They don't. Most time it'll be the kids on the committee. You have so many of them that they'll do that. But they're very similar. Live auction, silent auction. They get a lot more donations than a lot of my adult chapters did. But they're very similar events. I mean, a lot of sponsor tables. Very similar. Now they're all different. Some aren't, depending on the school type. They're all different. I have one in Dyersburg, or had one up there when I was regional director, that was a part of the school, it was at school on campus, and their cafeteria fixed the meal, and it was a spaghetti meal. It was very, very good every year, and the school paid for. That was part of their. They took in funds from the members early in the year, and that paid for the meal, and they got everything else underwritten. It was donated, and they had a small silent auction, live auction. But it was a smaller style event. A lot of students came to that event, and a few parents, but it's all based on where the school is. They're different all across the country, but they raise a significant amount of money each year for DU, and COVID killed a lot of high school and college chapters, especially on the collegiate level, because you're having to redo it every year, and especially every 4 years. So when people weren't on campus and you lost your entire committee, building that back up has taken us some time. But we have a huge third term coming up in July that we'll have over 220 kids attend here in Memphis, kind of a collegiate summit for all of our college chapters, and that's building every year, and we have to shut off the attendance for that. But this year we had the most. We also have a scholarship program that's become a huge thing for DU, and we had the most applicants for the scholarship we've ever had. So,
that's cool.
I feel like our high school and collegiate chapters are going to come back just like everything else. I mean, stuff is slowly coming back, but it's coming back better.
Yeah. I'm looking at there's 100, this fishing for ducks. There's 100 prizes. And I mean, they're all like really, really good shit.
Oh yeah.
$20,000 for first place. Super Black Eagle 3 shotgun of the year. I mean, you even go down to like, there's an Argo Explorer ATV. That's prize number 100. So, I mean, all the prizes are fucking something. How many teams are there for this thing?
Oh, there's over, I want to say there's over 3,000 people fishing. I could be wrong, but
it's at,
I want to say that
it's going to be February. That might have been last year though. And now my internet's lagging. So.
What I saw, Mingo showed it to be February 17th or 18th. It's going to be the same weekend as Seawee and the same weekend as Turkey.
I said, everybody's putting everything in February.
Yeah, they are. Well, why is it not loading up the homepage? You saw it too. Yeah, February 17th, 2014.
2024.
24. What the fuck, Andy? Get it together. It's been it's the end of the school year, and like, it just fucking, I've got too much shit on my mind.
We had my kid you can't say graduate anymore.
Moved on.
My kid had
Promotion?
his kindergarten celebration yesterday.
Why can't you say graduation?
And they don't call it graduation anymore. They don't wear cap and gowns.
Yeah. But
it was just a celebration.
It said where they had it, but now I can't find it. Pike.
It's Bemidji, Minnesota, I think.
We have 8th grade graduation here.
Not after this year.
Oh, we're not doing it no more after this year?
Well, no, they're not graduating.
Thank God.
Pike, yeah. Millack Lake near Pike Point.
Millax.
Sure. If you say so.
That's how you say it.
I'll go with that.
So, Jimbo, what else you got going on this summer? Anything exciting? Any great family vacations?
We take a family vacation. We go to Florida every year, Sandestin. We go with a big group of friends. We're going to go to North Carolina around the 4th of July this year and do slide and rock. And I haven't done that since I was a little kid. It's cold. It's a big rock. You slide down into really cold water.
I've never heard nothing
I do
about
remember
it.
that.
All holes are pre-drilled
near,
in the morning at this fishing for ducks. There's some busy motherfuckers out there.
Could you imagine drilling 3,000 holes in the lake and not falling in?
This event is something else. Like, seriously. And it's crazy they came up with it. But whatever gets people through the door. I've never been to North Carolina though. You've been, haven't you, Jeff?
Highlands, that's what.
Been to North Carolina a couple of times.
Oh, that's that area. My wife and I took our anniversary trip, our 1-year anniversary up to the Biltmore.
It's a neat place, isn't it?
It's incredible. I mean, I went to school 45 minutes from Asheville, and so I went there a lot when I was in college. And I mean, North Carolina is it's gorgeous. I mean, mountains and we're going up there this summer to get a house up there. We'll go to the beach, but no, other than that, there's always something going on with kids. We got, summer camps, and then we'll have some work weekends at the Duck Club and baseball camp here and at Vacation Bible School one week. And that calendar is, it fills up in the summer with things going on, but we don't do much elaborate traveling in the summer. We should, because it's so hot, but we have a pool in the backyard the kids love, and we keep it around here. But I'm excited. We're going to Vegas in a couple weeks for Ducks Unlimited's National Convention, which I'm really excited about.
Fun.
Garth Brooks and Johnny Morris are going to do a fireside chat there, so it'll be interesting to hear.
How'd y'all get them?
Johnny, Johnny probably.
Oh.
Bass Pro. I would assume but I think that'll be really cool. And the convention's always a fun time to see all the volunteers across the country. And then we have, if you look at the summer, then we got third term coming up in July, and then we got leadership conference later on. So there's plenty of things going on at DU, and we'll be here before you know it. My grandfather, I saw him yesterday, and he's like, it'll be my 77th duck season this year. I guess, sir, I won't forget it.
Good for him. Good for him.
He's never missed opening day. That's kind of our family tradition. We spend opening day every year walking into the woods. Always have. I've been in there with years where the water's been 4 inches deep and you can't even see water. Shooting wood ducks. I've been in some years where it's best hunting I've ever had in my life. But it's family tradition. We all go in there together, and there's a lot of those traditions. And I dreamed about my son hunting with my grandfather, and we've got to do that for the last 6 years of his life. Really the last 4 where he's really been involved. So
lots of blessings.
You're blessed right there, man.
Biggest thief in the world is time.
Being able to have grandfather, son, and the whole family. You really are. You're a lucky guy.
I am. That's fun. It's fun. So, we got a lot of cool things going on right now in life and at work. So very excited and blessed to be where I am right now.
Well, we appreciate you being on
Enjoy
here,
the
Jimbo.
high while you can.
And we appreciate Ducks Unlimited. We look forward to seeing you guys again. We will see you at, I don't know when I'll see you again, but you're always invited out here, you and David. So
yeah,
Anytime.
well, definitely. We need to make the trip and come out there.
anytime, we'd love to have you out here. We will see you. Will you be at Memphis at Shin Gears Deal?
In October?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll see you there then.
Y'all coming?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I talked to Carter and those guys all the time, and we built a DU Ducks Unlimited program with them when they first started with their waiters that we have. There's waiters at a lot of DU events across the country, and so that was a cool program. But
we're supposed to have our boots will be here probably tomorrow. I bet you.
The new Scout boots, they just they came out last week.
Yep.
So they will. That film festival is shaping up to be a lot bigger than what they described it. I think when they first started, we did a conservation partnership with them for that event, and I'm excited.
We look forward to it.
That was a cool idea of there on them.
Yeah, it's out of the box.
Come up with that.
Well, see, I don't think people. And I asked Dylan Farrell the other day. I said, what is it? I mean, it came out as just film festival. People, I don't know what film festivals are, but they have apparently films from across the country. People coming in to compete for a grand prize, and I think that's it's going to be awesome. I mean, I'm excited to see. Guess what? People, what their films are.
Yeah, I've never been to a film fest. No. We're just gonna go and partake,
just be ourselves, be there with boss, and enjoy.
Have a fun time. But yeah, I mean, it's another one of those. I've never been to a film festival, but it's just one of those outside of the box things that's going to get people, create a little bit of buzz. So
I don't have to wear a tuxedo.
It's
at
perfect
this one.
timing.
Yeah, right. It's going to be really good.
So we look forward.
I mean,
to
humidity. I think today the humidity in Memphis is up in the 90%.
Screw that shit.
And then Bama plays that weekend. Who does Bama play?
They
Tennessee?
play Tennessee that afternoon.
Yeah.
2:00. They're going to show it on big screens on the stage.
Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide, right?
Go Vols.
I'm not a fan of either one of them.
You're Memphis. You don't care.
And I'm an Ole Miss fan.
Oh, what position you said you played college ball? What position did you play?
I played receiver.
Huh. Had some hands on you.
About $1.75 then. I've had a few cheeseburgers since those playing days. Threw the kids in the pool yesterday. I woke up this morning. I was like, man, I'm sore. My wife's like, yeah, happens when you get old. But yeah, Texas football is everything.
Right.
But Bama, Tennessee, and Memphis is very, very exciting, especially last year. I mean, it looked like the Super Bowl, people selling after Tennessee beat Alabama. They were selling Tennessee gear on every street corner in this town. Feels like 98. Yeah. I had a couple of those hats that said feels like 98, and I was waiting for them to lose. When they lost again, I marked it out and said 2021. But yeah, I mean, college football in Memphis is awesome because there's so many schools represented: Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Memphis, Tennessee. Vandy. I mean, we're not dominated by one school, and so everybody gets their opportunity to talk trash. Alabama fans get theirs more than everybody else. But and Auburn. Oh, I better say Auburn. David will have me, but that'll be a fun time. Y'all get to see orange everywhere for all those Tennessee fans wearing their bright orange.
We can't wait. We'll see you in October. This has been a lot of fun talking to you. And if y'all need anything,
Absolutely.
let us know.
Yep, sounds great.
All right,
Thank
you,
you.
Jimbo.
See you, Jimbo.
See ya.
Yep.
Ducks Unlimited. That fishing deal sounds really cool.
Fishing deal? I didn't realize that they had a high school chapter.
Me and Dave, I didn't know about the high school chapter. That's interesting too. Smart, starting those kids off really, really good. That's a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
Especially kids that are paying $600 for some old crappy looking Converse shoes.
I'm gonna send him those pictures. Or I'm looking at the Biltmore right now. How far do you have to drive? Because look at that. The entrance.
Drive at all hardly. You drive and park, and then they pick you up on a bus and they drop you right off. You walk 100 yards to it. Maybe.
But from the entrance to the admission gate to all this,
me and Mom drove in.
Looks like a bit of a
where you
jog.
Where you drive in, you go buy your ticket, and a bus pulls up and picks you up and takes you in. There's not much walking at all. It was really neat. It's an interesting.
Okay. How far of a drive is it back there?
Probably 15 miles, maybe 10
That
miles.
far?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. From the main road. Probably 5 miles. It's not that far off.
Wow.
It's a neat place. They have a couple of hotels there. It's hard to believe someone could accumulate the wealth they accumulated back then.
Easy back then.
Someone lived there in the 80s. It was easy back then, yeah.
My forefathers were just too dumb to do it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It
is a really neat building to see, and it's twice.
Wonder what a room costs a night there.
You can't stay in the actual Biltmore. They have a hotel there.
Oh.
The Biltmore, nobody's staying in. I almost bought a curio cabinet, though, because I fell.
Yeah, that's what you said. Nobody stayed, not even grounds crew, anything.
Not
stays
that
overnight?
I'm aware. Not in the actual building, I don't think.
No, that's what I mean, in the Biltmore.
No, I don't think anybody stays in the Biltmore. They may. I do not know.
It's an amazing piece of property. How many fireplaces did you say were
It's
in there?
tons. And big
But that was the
fireplaces.
only way they could stay warm.
I think they had 1 or 2 people. All their full-time job was just keep the fires going. Burned a lot of wood.
Did you see that room?
If it's in there, it did. We went in every room.
That looks like something.
I was more interested in the books than they had in their library than anything. They had first editions of, the Nutcracker, different, which was the night before Christmas, stuff like that. They had actual first editions of it.
What was
Those
I
would be
supposed to
worth
look
a ton.
up before the Biltmore?
I don't have a clue.
All right, we'll just get off here.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all. Have a great week. Andy, I hope you're having fun in Costa Rica.
Goodbye. Go get involved in Ducks Unlimited any way that you can. If a high school kid's beating down your door, send them a little bit of money. Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, Shin Gear, Dirty Duck Coffee, Dive Bomb Ministries, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells.